Hello, it's Steve Mills here, and welcome to the Results Mastery live stream and live podcast as well. It's great to be here. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you some really interesting facts, figures, and ideas and ways in which you can grow your business. Now, today we're looking at AI. How to use AI for small business consulting and really to grow any small business, whether it's consulting or pretty much anything. So, one of the big problems that I see with AI, and it's a problem that's been around for many, many years, and that's the problem of not knowing what you don't know. I can remember back when I first started using a computer, I thought I knew how to use one. Now, if I compare that with my knowledge now, it would be probably less than 10%. And then came the internet and how we use that. And even things like, if you ask me, how good are you at using PowerPoint, Steve? I'd probably say, oh yeah, yeah, I'm good. I've used it for many, many years. I know PowerPoint. And yet there's probably, only about 40% of it that perhaps I'm using. So I believe that's the case with AI today. In fact, I don't just believe it, I absolutely know it. I'm going to talk about some figures in a few minutes. And to be honest, I'm going to say most of them. I think all of them I've made up, but they're just my honest appraisal of what I think the situation is. Just before I do that, I've got some slides to show you. So let me just share my screen. Just bear with me a second while I do that. Let's move over to the slides. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So welcome to Results Mastery. My name is Steve Mills, and I've got a couple of slides just to, by way of an introduction, tell you a little bit more about me and the company and what we do and so on before we go into the actual AI bit. So just bear with me. I'll go through this bit fairly quickly. So that's what we're here to talk about today, how to use AI for small business marketing in the UK. A little background here of what I firmly believe in terms of marketing, and that ultimately there are three ways of growing a business: get more customers, increase their average transaction value, and get them to buy more often. And this is something I learned back 30 odd years ago from a guy called Jay Abraham. And it's still as true today as it was back then. And now it's a matter of how can we use AI to do those three things. Little bit about me, as I mentioned, former international sportsman, having played table tennis at international level. Been doing this now for 31 years. I've worked with 10,000 businesses. On average, I get a 45% growth within 12 months. I'm also the author of 4 books on marketing, over 2,000 videos on YouTube, quite a largeable social media following. And my record, which I managed to achieve inside about an hour of working with a business, I gave them an idea that helped them make £42 million over the next 12 months. I should have been on commission, but there we go. I come from a background really where, being an international sportsman, it was always about getting better. Getting better at something was really, really important. And then there was doing more of what you got good at, trying to really, I suppose, enforce your game on your opponent. And then there were new skills, new things that you could do, you could learn. Perhaps you could learn a new serve at table tennis. And that I took into the world of business. So it's about getting better at your marketing. It's about mastering your results and then doing more of it and then looking at what you're not doing and maybe starting doing that in order to develop and scale your business even further. A couple of things just to talk to you about that I think might be of value to you. My Results Mastery University, if you're going to want to get a better business, you've got to become a better business owner. It's as simple as that. You need to learn about this stuff. I'm not going to be able to teach you everything that you need to know in half an hour on a free web meeting about AI or about marketing. So we need some way of gaining expertise, becoming, you either hire it in or you learn yourself. And I strongly recommend, even if you do decide to hire somebody to come in and do stuff, that you become pretty good at it yourself. So to do that, you can join my Results Mastery University for 50 quid a month. So well worth it. Next one is my Kickstart program. This is my real basic program where you get, again, access to me through various meetings, Q&As, and so on and so forth. Again, really cost effective. The cost of all that expertise, of all those things that you can see there, is £25 a month. It's a no-brainer, in my opinion, and something you should take very seriously. In fact, I almost say you should definitely join it. I can't see why you wouldn't. My 6 steps of business growth, I'll just go through these for you and think about this from a context of AI. Number one, the biggest problem that we've all got is overcoming obscurity. If you're not known by your market, don't know you, they've never heard of you, don't know who you are, don't know what you do, and so on. We got a problem which we've got to cure. We cure that by communicating with them and then connecting to them in some way. That could be connecting on LinkedIn or other social media. It could be getting them onto your email list. It could be retargeting them through your website and so on and so forth. Getting people to a level where they know, like, and trust you. People buy from people that they know, like, and trust, particularly when it's a big sale. So really important, that one. And then all that really comes into turning this communication into two-way communication. You've only really got there when they're communicating back. I send out an email saying, here's a new video, and people respond and come back on the video. So that's, again, really, really important. And then the next 2 steps are the bits that actually really matter. They get the money in there. That's ultimately what matters. Oh, what's happened there? Sorry, I've gone forward one. Going forward now when I should be going backwards. That's where I wanted to be, here, not there. So turning those all this goodwill into meetings, so getting meetings and then turning those meetings into sales. That's really what we want to try to do. So here we go then. First thing, AI, the opportunity for small businesses right now. Let me talk to you about what that is. Well, I believe it's the biggest opportunity since the dawn of the internet, except it's growing so much faster, so much quicker. You take websites like, I don't know, LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and so on, and they grew exponentially, really, really quick. Facebook hit a billion views in what it was, I can't quite remember, but let's say it's like 8 or 9 months. Well, ChatGPT did that in like 2 or 3 days. So that gives you some idea of the speed of growth. The other thing I'd say is the speed of change. When I first got involved with it, I thought, yeah, ChatGPT, this is amazing. How can it, it's just incredible it does this. But actually, do you know what? There are other sites around that are even more incredible, and I'll talk to you about those as we go through. Most people, however, are either overwhelmed by it. They think, "Oh, I haven't got time to learn all that. I don't know how to do it," or they think they know it. Actually, some of them they go, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I use AI all the time." Actually, they're losing, or sorry, using probably less than 5% of it, and they are losing most of it, to be honest. Or they're ignoring it, and a lot of them actually are quite fearful. Oh, it's terrible. It's evil. It's going to take my business. It's going to mean billions of people are going to be out of work, and so on and so forth. Well, I'm not saying it's not going to have an impact, but we're going to have to learn new skills for new jobs. The probably the best job in the world would be somebody who is an expert on AI. That is a really good job to be in. And I do believe that it's not so much AI is going to take your business, it's probably somebody who knows how to use AI that could potentially ruin your business by becoming really good at what they do. And if they do the same thing as you and can do it faster and cheaper and so on, then that's a massive thing. 98% of the businesses that are using AI are using less than 5% of it. That is definitely something I believe. I made those numbers up, but it's what I believe. The businesses that are adopting AI now will be dominating the market in 18 to 12 months' time. And that 18 to 12 months, that again is just my opinion, but I reckon it could be 3 to 6 months. So it's changing that fast. It's the fastest change the world's ever known. So, number two, four things that you can do in your marketing right now, things that you can actually do that are going to make a difference. Firstly, you can generate content in minutes and not hours. That could be social media, that could be emails, that could be blogs, that could be web pages, it could be landing pages, it could be scripts, it could be testimonials, it could be loads and loads and loads of things that you can now do in minutes instead of hours. Case studies, you name it. You can now automate follow up so no leads ever get cold, ever. Automate your follow up. I use something that I'm going to show you, well, not show you, but talk to you about in a few minutes called GoHighLevel. So that when somebody comes to my website, I can automatically follow up with that person, and I can follow up via an AI who will make a phone call. Yes, that's right, a phone call. My AI, whose name's Amy, will make a phone call to that person to follow up and to book a meeting for me. How incredibly powerful is that, guys? Unbelievable. So this stuff is here. It's working. In fact, you say, well, I don't like talking to AIs. I'll bet you a pound to a penny that you've spoken to an AI in the past and not even known that you're talking to an AI. I know I've done that. It enables you to analyze what's working and what's not, so you can improve your performance of your current marketing. And the other big opportunity right now is to become better at using AI. Start using some of this stuff that if you don't, you're going to fall behind even more. So number three, advanced AI. We're going to look at eye level and we're going to look at some of the other pieces of software that I use. Now, my one thing I would say to you before I talk to you about what AI systems you should be using is this. If you want to be good at sport and you decided to take up tennis, football, golf, rugby, and cricket, because they're all sports that you enjoy playing, the chances are that you'd be no good at any of them. When I say no good, I don't mean you'd be terrible, but if you're trying to get world class at any of those sports, trying to play all six of them would be almost impossible. So you've got to specialize. So my belief is that you should specialize in just a few. Now, what I do is this. I use piece of software. It's not just an AI system, but it's a digital marketing software. It's called GoHighLevel. I was that impressed with it that I've actually become a reseller of it. So if you want to know more about it, if you want a demo of it, if you want me to show it you, I can do that. And it's also a CRM system, by the way. But I would just want to talk to you about what it does in terms of AI. Firstly, it has AI agents. So you can use voice agents, word agents, and it's also got something called Ask AI, which is like a chat, like ChatGPT. So it's got that. The AI agents can be used, the voice agents can be used for making calls, as I've already mentioned. So I can say to Amy, my voice agent, to uh, phone, to contact uh, all these people, whoever they are. They could be all my prospects, all my customers, all my businesses in that I've got in registered in my database in Dubai. Uh, Basically, all my accountants, all my this, all my that, whatever I want, and she will phone them up. It starts with a script that I put in there, and then she does the AI job by ad-libbing and knowing that her job is to get me a booking. So she does everything she can to get me booked in. Now, the other one is the word agent. Now, what a word agent do is it will follow up via my WhatsApp, or it will follow up via my SMS. Okay, so if somebody sends me an SMS saying, went to your website, I thought it was quite interesting, can someone get in touch? Amy will immediately send them a message saying, thanks very much for your interest. Yes, we'd love to find out more. What we need to do is to book a meeting. Here's a link to book a meeting. If they come back and say, really busy at the moment, can we do it next week? Amy will respond and so on and so forth. So, it's pretty blooming brilliant, to be honest. The other one that I love is Manus. Now, there's lots of different, like what I'd call main AIs out there, things like Claude and so on and so forth. I got into Manus and I really love it. And why I first got into it was this. I'd heard that Manus could develop me a new website. And I thought, well, let's give it a go. And so I went in there and I asked Manus, I said, look, I actually said, here's a link to Tony Robbins's website. Now, Tony's pretty much known as the world's leading consultant. And I thought, well, he's probably got a pretty good website. I'd obviously looked at it on several occasions and knew it was a good website. So I said to Manus, I'd like you to develop me a website like Tony Robbins's. I don't want you to copy Tony's. I don't want you to copy his words. Here's a link to my website that I've got already. And I want you to improve this website that I've got, build me a new website, but do it by modeling the website that Tony Robbins has got. And it produced my website, which if you go and have a look at it, I think you'll be quite amazed that this wasn't done by a human. This was done by Manus. And not only that, but it will go on and do pretty much everything and anything you want. So, I strongly recommend going and having a look at that because it's what I really, really like. It even helped me to build my own AI Steve, right? I call it Steve. Why not? It's an AI version of me. It's a chat bot and it enables people to go onto my website, gain access to me and my 30 years worth of knowledge, 24/7. Ask me questions, and you'll be absolutely stunned at the quality of the answers and the information that you get from that. Just mind-blowingly good. My last one there is it is AI driven, but it's just one of the best websites that's helped me so much. I couldn't believe it. It's probably saved me a day or two per week in terms of time. It's called Typeless, and as it says on the screen, it's about never typing again, just talking. So I talk to Typeless. If I want to send an email, I don't type an email, I talk an email. If I want to upload something to my website, perhaps a blog, I can just talk a blog, and so on and so forth. So really, really, I can't see any reason why anybody wouldn't really value using Typeless. So you might want to use that. Number 4, cost of doing nothing and the cost of doing it yourself. So all I can tell you is, again, totally made up statistics. 60% of business owners are doing nothing and saying how terrible AI is. I think that's not far from the truth. 30% are doing very little. That could be the other way around, actually. It could even be 60% are doing very little. They've got the free versions of chat, including ChatGPT, and they're basically playing at it. The sports metaphor is that they're practicing once a week, for an hour and expecting to be, one of the best players around, and that just ain't going to happen. You got to put more time and effort into it. 99% of the 30% above think they know how to use it, and this is really a worrying statistic for them, not for me, for them. Nearly everybody who's using it, who are saying, yeah, I know how to use it, don't. I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to use it fully. I know that this time next week and next month and in 3 months, there'll be a load of new stuff for me to learn, and my current level of knowledge will have doubled in the next 3 months, because that's the speed of everything changing. 8% of owners are using it really well, and only 2% are making the money that is possible. So 2% are making more money than the aforementioned 98%. So, which side of the wall are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the people who say it's terrible, the people who don't do very much, or the people who are making all the money from AI? I know which side of the fence I want to be on. Number 5, 4 steps to AI mastery. So decide which AI platforms you're going to master, learn how to prompt, and develop a master prompt. Now, if you want to develop a master prompt, and perhaps you don't even know what one is, there's a place you could go. Where do you think that might be? Go and ask AI. You don't need to ask Steve Mills. I could tell you, but go and ask AI. Go to your AI. What I did, let me give you an example. What I did is I went to Manus and I said, I want to develop a master prompt. Can you tell me exactly what one is? And it said, yeah, it's a prompt to enable me to know more about you, Steve, what you do and how you do it, to get a good understanding. They said it's a little bit like when you employ somebody on their first day at work, you give them an induction into your business. That's what a master prompt is. I said, oh, fantastic. So what sort of stuff do you need to know? And it gave me a list of loads of questions that I just had to answer. I said, right, that's fantastic. And they said, it also said, have you got things that you could upload that would help me? And I said, yeah, of course. Yeah, I can upload my books. I can give you links to all my videos. I can upload, connect you to all my social media and my blog and my website. And I've got loads of case studies. What else have I got? I've got tip sheets. I've got systems. I've got processes. I've got scripts. I've got frameworks, and I've got reports. And I uploaded all that stuff into Manus. So Manus knows me pretty well. I then said to Manus, is there anything else that you need to know in order to help me to do a better job? And again, it came up with 10 this time, 10 things that it needed to know. And that is one of the most powerful things that you can do if you want to use AI as effectively as possible, is to produce a master prompt and also to learn how to prompt other than that. So invest money. Don't be one of these people who are on the freebies. You know, what do we get for free? Well, in this world, you get quite a bit, but you don't get as much as you do if you pay for it. So my advice would be, decide which AI you're going to use and pay for it. Develop an agent. That's another one I think is really, really important. One of the best things I did. I've got a team now on Manus. And that team on Manus enables me to what's it enable me to do? Let me really try and structure this. Imagine I've got a team, I've got a manager, right? Who is my main agent. Let's call him Chris. Why? Because that's his name. That's what I call him, Chris. So I got Chris. And if I need something doing, as a managing director of my company, I don't go to all the different people. I go to the manager, who's called Chris. So I go to Chris and I say, Chris, I'm spending too much time doing email marketing. Can you sort that out for me? And Chris goes, yeah, sure. Here's a three-step process that I think we should implement. And the third step is where AI answers all my emails for me. Doesn't send them out, so I've got to approve them. So if you're thinking, oh, how's Steve doing that? But it writes them all, and it saves me probably, I don't know, I get two to 300 emails a day. So all that work has disappeared overnight. I've then got an AI that's known as a website developer. I've got an AI that writes copy, and so on and so forth. So under Chris, I've got about 6 or 7 AIs that do a load of work. How cool is that? And I'm developing them all the time. Now, if we haven't got an AI, then Chris will do the work. But underneath Chris are expert AIs that do that work. How incredible is that in this world? And what's that going to be like in a year or in 6 months or in 2 years? It's just remarkably clever, I believe. Okay, sixth, this is what we can do to help. Okay, so what can we do to help? Well, I'm running an AI day called AI Mastery. Surprise, surprise. If you want to come along to that, go and have a look at my website. You could sign up for my 6-week Mastery Intensive program starting in September. That's going to be a couple of hours a week online, plus Q&As and loads of other benefits, access to the university for 6 weeks and so on and so forth. Really, really, really good program. It's going to make, I don't know, I reckon if you use AI properly, you're probably going to save a day or two per week. So you can go and do other stuff. And it's without any shadow of a doubt, it could make you 100 grand plus per year. It could be per month, who knows? But if you use it properly, it's going to pay for that training program a million times over, and I exaggerate only slightly. Sign up for a 6 weeks intensive program then. Next, Kickstart program. Already told you about that. 25 quid, no brainer. You need to join it. Next, join the Results Mastery University. Over 250 video training sessions, all 10, 15 minutes long. You don't have to listen to all of them at once, but just one of them. One of them is called Referral Mastery. Right, it's about how to win business from referral. That is worth at least 50 grand a year to you. Right now, you are losing 50 grand a year because you don't have a referral system. That's assuming you don't, but if you like most businesses I speak to, you won't have one. So if if you're still not sure which one or ones you want to get involved with, book a meeting with me. I'm very happy to talk to you. I don't believe in hard selling. I believe in just trying to help people make the right decisions for their business. I stand by my reputation. I've been doing this for over 30 years, as I mentioned. You don't stick around for that long unless you're pretty good at what you do. I've worked with over 10,000 businesses. On average, I get 45% growth in 12 months. Having said that, that average is brought down. And by the way, that is the only stat that is absolutely true. All those things about 98% of people think this. The average is true. That's 45% growth. That's what you can expect on average. But as I was saying, some of them don't do anything. They come along to a workshop and go back, and 6 weeks later, they've done nothing. So, that's no good. I don't want people to do that. I want people who are going to take action. So I want to make sure that my reputation is a good reputation. So, that's about it, really. So thanks ever so much for listening. If you've got any questions, by all means, get back to me. Just come to results-mastery.com, and I'll look forward to speaking then. So thanks very much. By the way, I do these every Monday, every Wednesday. Feel free to hop on one of them. You'll always find them on my website on the events page. They're always free of charge, and it'd be great to see you here. Thanks very much for listening.